Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive shift that's happening in global Christianity. We're talking about a transformation from what used to be a one-way street into this incredibly dynamic global network. And the best way to get our heads around this new reality is through a concept called Polycentric Mission.
Okay, let's just jump right in with an idea that really sums up this whole thing. Listen to this. Mission is from everywhere to everywhere and from everyone to everywhere. Wow. That single thought completely flips the script on how mission has been understood for centuries. It's no longer about a few sending to the many, but it's about everyone, everywhere being part of it.
You know, for a long time, the map of Christian mission was pretty simple. It looked like the one on the left, a straight one-way flow from the west to the rest. But honestly, that map is an antique now. Today's map looks so much more like a vibrant, pulsating web, where people and ideas are flowing in every possible direction, from Africa to Europe, from Latin America to Asia, and then all the way back again. This is more than just a change. It's a recognition that the old way was broken and a new one had to emerge.
So what's the big idea that's driving this new map? It's a word you're probably going to be hearing a lot more of, polycentric. So let's actually break down what that means.
Okay, in the simplest terms, polycentric just means many centers. It's a total move away from that old model where, a single headquarters in one part of the world would call all the shots for everybody else. Instead, this new model values a network of diverse, independent, but still interconnected hubs, where each one brings its own unique perspective and strengths to the table.
And here's what's really fascinating. This whole many centers idea isn't some niche, abstract concept cooked up in a seminary. It's actually a fundamental pattern we see in all kinds of thriving, complex systems all around us.
I mean, think about it. An ecosystem doesn't have a CEO lion running the show. It's this incredibly complex web of interdependent relationships. The internet you're using this very second has no central off switch. And our biggest cities thrive because they have multiple centers of culture, business, and community. Turns out this model is incredibly resilient and super adaptable, which is exactly what a global faith needs.
But this isn't just about borrowing a good idea from the business world. Not at all. As the source material makes really clear, this idea of a global, multi-centered community has super deep roots in the Christian story itself.
You can trace this thread from the very beginning, in Genesis, with a promise that was always global, a blessing meant for all families on earth. That same thread gets picked up in the call to engage with all nations, and it's woven through the radical inclusion of people from every single background. And it all culminates in this final incredible vision of a massive gathering from every nation, tribe, and language. The theme is just so consistent. This faith was never ever meant to be the property of just one culture or one place.
And this all comes together in one of the most powerful metaphors out there. The church as a single body with many different parts. Right? Just like a body needs its eyes and hands and feet to work properly, the global church is at its healthiest when every part, every culture, every community is valued and empowered to play its own unique and absolutely vital role.
Okay, so we've got these big, powerful ideas and this beautiful new map. But how do we actually use it? What does this look like on the ground, especially when those old habits of top-down control are so hard to break?
Yeah, how does a real-life organization, or maybe even your local church, truly make that shift from a centralized, top-down approach to a genuinely collaborative, multi-centered network?
Well, the source material actually lays out some very practical steps. First, you have to ditch that old donor-recipient mindset and instead build real mutual partnerships where wisdom and learning flow in both directions. Second, it's all about empowering local leaders. So instead of sending an outsider to run a project, it means investing in local training so they can lead it themselves. And third, and this one is huge, it means intentionally embracing diverse voices and not just inviting them to the meeting, but actually giving them a real vote and real influence when big decisions are being made. So ultimately, the goal is to completely transform the structure itself. It's a fundamental move away from a hierarchy that sends down orders and toward a network that shares wisdom and responsibility. This is what creates a more resilient, more adaptive, and frankly, a much more effective global community.
But look, this kind of change is not easy. And the biggest challenge, by far, is about power. A missiologist named Jay Matenga puts it perfectly. He says, the most local center should lead. In other words, the people who are most affected by a decision should have the biggest say in making it. Now that sounds like simple common sense, but it requires the people and groups who have historically held all the power to be willing to actually let some of it go.
And that really leaves us with the critical question for the future. As this new polycentric map of global Christianity keeps taking shape, the real work is going to be building a network that isn't just multi-centered, but is truly equitable. How do we make absolutely sure that in a mission that is from everywhere, every single voice is not just included, but is equally respected and empowered?